hi Nige. Got a couple of Nissan Patrol lockers that need a little bit of love and not in very good condition. That's the understatement. This is the first one, and you can see the state that this is in. We're going to see what we can do with it. It is a pure off-roader and we're trying to keep the rebuild costs down, but it's not very good. However, the other one we have pulled apart. Now, really interestingly, this is a locker, and there is no hole in the casing for the airline to go through. And I found the airline, well, I found some of the airline, copper pipe had sheared off. Whoever built this didn't do what they should have done, which is drill a hole in the casing, put the copper pipe through with the fitting on the outside. They managed to run the copper pipe up through the axle casing, poke it out through the top, and somehow cobble up a fitting. So when they took the diff out, it sheared the copper pipe off, and they ain't cheap. The crown wheel has had something munching and going around in there. It really looks wounded. It's got a nice central grind check rather than a blue check, so I'm gonna have to do something with that. The center itself, that is not in the best flush of youth, and I'm doing this video for two reasons. One, to show you what happens and the sort of bills you can get if you don't keep oil in, water out, and look after your diffs and keep things from munching about. But also, when most people would say, whoa, scrap in it, I'm going to see what we can do. Going to be an awful lot of labour, but I'm going to try and save these two. So I'm not going to do a build by build. I'm just going to do a few things of now, halfway through, and built. That's what we do. If a customer wants it saving and is accepting it's going to be noisy, we'll save it and it will be noisy, but at least it will run again. Right, better fire up the various cleaners in the workshops. Well, I've boiled the hell out of these with various cleaners. There's all sorts of goo and Fausty nastiness on here, and rust, and more rust. That bearing actually fell apart, which is lovely. I've got to clean all the rollers at the bottom of the ultrasonic. That one's got to come off. All that rust has got to go. And then we got the crown wheel to sort out, which has cleaned up, but my God, we've got some marks there where something's chomped around it. So the next step is to put this through our other ultrasonic, try and get rid of all the rust, and then shove the whole lot in a polishing machine for, well, I don't know, Happy Christmas comes to mind. It's sort of 19th of November, so yeah, about a month should do it. We'll see what it comes up like, but it's not good. And just so it doesn't feel left out, here's the pinion, and as you can see, that's got some nasty little wounds on it as well, big time wounds. It will go again, but it's going to be noisy, and that's going to go and join everything else in the polishing machine. That's got a lovely great dig on it. We've got to straighten that out, which isn't great, but it will go again. Put that in a polisher, even those are bloody rusty as well. In fact, everything that's come out of this diff is now oil free, although there wasn't a lot of oil on it to start with, and just got to get rid of the rust and do the best we can. Just to finish my paying off, it's missing one of these, so I've got to find one or make one. Oh, happy days. Well, the happy sound of the polishing machine in the background. This has been in there 3 days. We've got all the rust out of there, and we got all the rust out of the teeth. We can't do anything about the damage that's on there, but at least it's got a bit of a shine and it's a hell of a lot cleaner. It needs a new pinion bearing, obviously, but that's as good as we can get that. The crown wheel's struggling. I'm going to leave it in for another couple of days and see how it comes out. Well, that's the centre saved. It needs a new carrier bearing each side. It's all back together thanks to Dan Hickling, who can supply pretty much every single part for these HFs, which is staggering when you think ARB can't or won't supply single bits. For instance, if you chip a gear on an HF, Dan will sell you a gear. ARB want a set of 6 at about £600. So there is something to be said for these, and this one I'm actually quite amazed how well it's come up, and that will do me. So Move on to the next bit. But it will live again, but it won't be nice. And I forgot this was even in the polishing machine. This is the very rusty flange that has come out. Look, you can tell it's one. It's still got the dent on it, but the surface area that sits on the seal, that will go again. That's okay. Quite pleased with that. Got a bit saved. Right then, well, we have the casing back all cleaned up. Gonna have to put new bearings in it. We have a big pile of bits here which we have cleaned the hell out of. Flange has come up really well. That's been in the polisher for about a week. It will go again. These are hideously expensive, but pleased with that. We have the crown wheel and pinion from hell. We have some new upgraded bolts that are going in and the fitting. There's a new copper pipe going on and a new genuine seal and some bearings, and the unit itself, which is all back together. We will see how this comes out, but it will run again. I'll put money it's going to be terribly noisy, but it's saved. I think it's saved. I hope it's saved after all this work, please. And don't forget that when I've done that one, I've got to sort out this one, which really isn't that much better. Oh well, let's do the first one first and see what this one brings. There is no justice in the world. This thing is actually a damn sight better than we think it deserves to be. We're going to switch on the compressor, and it's locked, and it doesn't leak any air at all. Unlocked. It's actually remarkably smooth. Even more amazingly, it's not even that noisy. My esteemed colleague, I expected it to be a lot worse than that. So, one saved Y61. We've upgraded all the carrier bolts to heavy duty ones. We've upgraded the crown wheel bolts to heavier ones. We've put new parts on it, new air locking ring. Well, we found one of these that was missing. We've stripped the insides, we've polished the hell out of it, and it even looks good when we turn it the other way up. Don't know quite why we bothered, but we've repainted the flange, we've polished it all up, we've cleaned it all, we've put a new seal in, we painted the casing, having cleaned the living daylights out of it. We put a new fitting on the outside this time instead of through the axle casing for the airline to be connected to, and it's all ready for a load of abuse. But there is no justice in diff building. Sometimes you build something brand new and it rumbles and grumbles and you don't know why, and sometimes something like this that you expect it to be horrendous, it actually turns out really good. But it shows what can be done with a lot of labour, a load of new parts, and not basically throwing stuff away and just throwing money at it. Bye for now.
That's all, folks.